State's game?
Yeah, a very frustrating, difficult day that ends a very frustrating, difficult season. That's the best way I can sum it up. We sit there in the second drive of the game and we split them on the power there with Trey, and he hurts his shoulder and we lose him for the game. We're going to probably have about 30, 35 snaps with Trey, and some of the misdirection runs now go out of the game plan. So you got to make adjustments and you got to change. And I heard it for Trey because he's a senior. It's the last game in the Swamp, so very difficult for him. He's a great young man, and but that's kind of sums up where we are. What's happened this year. It's been very frustrating. But I want to thank the seniors. I told them in the locker room I appreciate their contributions. University of Florida. We're a much better football team right now than we were my first season, regardless of what the record is and where this program's headed, and the quality of player we have in the locker room, our staff, and everything included. And I know we will all focus on the results, but I know where this thing is and where it's headed. And it's been a tough year, very difficult to deal with, but it is what it is. Those guys have persevered through some tough times, and certainly this season being the iceberg of it all. But they continued to hang in there and represent us in a first-class manner. I think our crowd, we had a great crowd today, came out there and supported these guys through a very difficult season, and certainly appreciate their loyalty to our program. As far as the game is concerned, I kind of hit offensively. When that happened to us, that became difficult. We lost some of the misdirection runs, some of the Wildcat package we wanted to be able to rep with. We kind of devoted to Trey all week. In those situations, but there's only so many reps you have through practice, and that crushed us there. Third down was a killer for us defensively. Obviously, the third and long situation, you got to give them credit. It was well covered. It was a nice play by Cody. Their quarterback made a nice play, and their slot receiver made a heck of a catch. So you have to certainly give them credit in that situation. But big plays defensively killed us. We got in some, we felt like we wanted to pressure the quarterback, which we did. Thought we were successful at times. We got in some one-on-ones. We needed to win some more of the one-on-ones down the field. And you got to give those guys credit. They do a good job, and Florida State's got a good football team. Give them credit. So third down was a killer for us, especially in the first half. I think they were 5 of 7. And that kind of, once that score gets out on the scoreboard for us, it takes the wind out of our sails, certainly. So. But I thought our guys continued to fight and play hard in the game. We just didn't have enough bullets in the gun today. Injuries-wise, Marcus Roberson rolled his ankle Thursday. That's why he was limited to today. He was wearing a skelly period and just rolled up. Joey Ivy sliced his heel on a scooter. He had about 25 stitches on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think maybe it was after Wednesday's practice. And, Trey was hurt today. Keanu O'Neal had his shoulder today. So disappointed for those guys, and I'll open it up for any questions you might have.
Gene, the front guy.
Will, you and Jeremy have both used the word fix. How much? What do you need to get it fixed? Is this simply a matter of changing staff personnel, or is it a matter of just doing better on the road recruiting? What?
No, I think we've recruited well. I think that there's a bunch of guys. It's funny, Gene. We had a highlight video for our players last night, and a lot of the highlights were from our game last year with Florida State. And a lot of the guys that, there were some really good seniors. There were some couple, Matt Elam and Jordan Reed that made some big plays in that game that came out early. But there was a bunch of other guys in that game that didn't play for us today that are on our sideline in street clothes. So we got good football players, and we have a good staff, and we just got to get back healthy and, continue to move forward, and I'm not going to use an excuse. It's real, So a lot of the same jersey numbers were playing for Florida State today, and they got a good football team. I'm not taking anything away from them. They do a good job, offensively, defensively, and special teams.
Pat, over to the right. Pat Dooley, over the right, coach.
Well, it was kind of the season in microcosm, in that you get the big first play or the play from Trey, and you miss another field goal. That's 10 missed field goals this year. They come down. I think your opponents are 22 out of 23 on made field goals.
Yeah, we haven't missed one yet that I can remember. If it was early.
But just as far as the deflation of another missed field goal.
Well, we had went in the game, and Frankie's range is about just as far as yardage is concerned, from the 25-yard line in. And he doesn't feel comfortable outside of that. And it was a longer field goal. I think it was a 49-yarder. Austin hit it well in pregame. We were going to go with Frankie on the shorter field goals and Austin on the longer field goals. And yeah, I mean, we certainly need to fix that.
And also, is there any sense of relief that this season's over? at
No,
all?
I mean, you want to keep battling and keep playing if you're a competitor. Absolutely no relief at all. You know, you just want to be able to get out and continue to practice and improve. We've had a lot of young players continue to take a bunch of reps that have improved. A bunch of guys that we weren't really counting on this year that have come out and played, and that'll help our depth as we move forward.
Mike in the middle.
Coach, the game was close in the first half, like a lot of your games this year. How much does it take out of a team if you could just score some points to maybe get over the hump, and you never really could this year?
Well, I think that's something that certainly affected us last week. We were able to allow an offense that's to continue to run what they run, and it's difficult to defend. And I think that when you're calling plays for the other team, it makes it easier as well. We got to find ways to manufacture more points, and there's no question moving forward we need to do that.
Will,
Steve over in the corner to the right.
what do you do for the mental health of your players this season? They're highly recruited, they have a lot of expectations, and what do you do to kind of keep their mindset up? Obviously, besides the physical.
No, I think
conditioning.
it's a great lesson to be humbled a little bit in life sometimes. As a coach, number one, as a staff, and as players, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good for us.
What's the strategy going into spring as far as coaching them that way?
Work really hard.
Jason up front.
Well, what changes do you anticipate for the offense going forward?
Right, I haven't made any decisions to this point, so it's not, as far as staff, is that what you're
Well,
asking?
generally and with staff.
Well, I think we need to take a look at ourselves schematically, what we're doing. Obviously, there have been some things that have happened that are very difficult to overcome, but schematically, there's no question we need to take a look at ourselves.
And staff-wise,
I haven't made any decision to this time.
when do you plan to do that?
I don't have any timetable.
Zach.
Coach, obviously Roberson was limited today, but I mean, you got some future NFL corners in your secondary. Were you surprised at how much success Kelvin was able to have today?
Well, they did a good job. They got him matched up in the slot a little bit, and they took him from outside and put him inside. He did a nice job on some things. He's a big target. He's hard to defend. They did a good job of getting him matched up on some of our smaller DBs by moving him around a little bit, and we ended up changing and moving with him. No, he's a good player. We knew he's a matchup issue coming into the game. We felt like we needed a pressure, which means you're going to play middle field coverage, and that was something that was part of the game plan going in.
What's some of the toughest things about defending a guy like that?
Well, just he's got length. He runs well. He's got really good ball skills down the field, but the length is the issue.
Matt in front to the right.
Well, talk about Skylar's performance today and what he was able to do. And in general, you look at the quarterback position when you guys go in the offseason. You've got Jeff, and how do you develop that position?
Well, it'll be an open competition, but certainly getting Jeff and Tyler back will be, a shot in the arm for us. So we're looking forward to that.
Skylar's performance?
What's that?
And his performance today, Skylar?
Well, again, a little antsy in the pocket at times. He needs to hold in the pocket a little bit more. Needs to get the ball down the field vertically. I mean, a lot of things. It's the first time playing, in these situations, and he's been put under fire, and he's handled the situation well.
Chris all the way in the back.
Well, what do you take away from all of the experience as a whole this year?
Well, I mean, I just think, again, the toughest thing for me has been the psychological disposition of your football team when you continue to have setbacks. It changed how guys approach practice. When you see a bunch of injuries, all of a sudden, I don't want to be that guy. So, again, I never had any issue with how as far as the effort that we played with. We could have played with more of an edge at times. I think our guys played hard. I think our guys competed. But, we were in some tough situations. I wish we had handled a little bit better. But, again, I think as much as anything, just the psychological impact it has on your entirety of your program, it's been frustrating.
And how about you personally? I mean, you talked about the guys and how they handled things.
I'm going to be fine. You just work. You go to work, you roll your sleeves up, and you go to work. That's bottom line. That's all you can do. And you be a great leader and a great motivator for your team and your organization. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to get it all. We're going to be fine. We're going to have a good football team next year. I can assure you that. Just sitting in that locker room with those guys, we're going to be fine. And that's what's encouraging for me. It's damn encouraging.
Jason, Gene, and then Kevin.
As far as improving the offense, how much promise did you see from Kelvin Taylor this season going forward?
Very good. I think Kelvin, again, a good young player that, if you don't have the injuries with Matt, maybe doesn't get as many snaps. So now he's been a guy that's been in, the FSU game. He's been a part of those games now. He's been in that show. He went to South Carolina and performed extremely well, ran the ball extremely well. He's gotten those turns and reps. And you get Matt, a guy healthy back, So, I mean, that's what I said earlier. It develops depth on your team. And that's if there is a positive, that's a positive that you have.
And aside from your seniors, what other players are leaving the program?
Well, I mean, again, that'll something I'll discuss in the coming days, and I've had some discussions with, a couple guys, but I don't really want to comment at this time about that.
Gene.
Well, you said that you were willing to look at yourself schematically. How much are you willing to change? Because there's this perception of you that you're ball possession, time of possession type coach, not necessarily one to wing it, but how much are you willing to change
Perception's
if need
not
be?
always reality. Perception's not always reality. So I'm willing to do what we need to do to score points and win games.
Kevin and Mike.
Any thoughts on Matt Elam and Tim Tebow being back, and did either of those
Great to
guys
see
speak
those
to this
guys.
team?
Tim came in, and of course he commands an audience everywhere he goes. But great Gator, and I appreciate him. It was great to see Matt. Matt actually was in the building on Friday. He played Thursday night and was here early Friday morning. Spent the day with us and the players, and just great to have him back. We should put him out there in a uniform.
And also Dominic Easley being back too, him coming back.
Yeah, well, Dominic's been back in town. I don't know, about 10, 12 days. He's been rehabbing in Pensacola, and it was great to see he and all those guys.
Will over here. You guys were able to get a lot of pressure on Jameis the first few drives. What did they do to change that?
Well, we ran out of gas. We had some guys get a little gas. We needed to sub more in the game. Going back and just sitting there on the sidelines, I just felt like we got a little dead leg in the rush. They did a better job protecting, but we did a good job in some of the one-on-ones. We had a good plan for Dante, getting him on the center and running some pick games. They did a good job of adjusting, but it looks like we ran out of gas a little bit, and he's hard to tackle in the pocket. We had him a couple times and he got away, but you got to tackle him high and you got to wrap him high. You can't wrap him around his legs. He's got a really strong core and lower body, and he's a guy that you got to wrap to his right arm.
Was Bierfoy benched at the end of the game?
No, he twinged his knee over there on their sideline.
Okay.
Well, Edgar, I'm sorry, then Eric over to the left. Edgar.
Following up on that, the offense, I think, got one first down, about 5 series stretch. Did that go into the defense's kind of wearing down?
You got to maintain the ball against an offense like that. You got to take time off the clock. Very similar. We tried to go in with the same mindset that we had in Columbia, South Carolina, as far as taking time off the clock, eating the clock. And we were unable to do that. Give them credit. They made plays on third down. We didn't. I think we were 1 of 10 or 11 on third down. So you got to convert those. We've struggled to make explosives, make third down conversions, you name it. We haven't done it.
And did you feel like the team came out with some renewed energy early on?
I think a lot of that has to do with our crowd. I think that guys were excited about playing. I think we had a good week of preparation. I just think sometimes we just get handcuffed, especially on the offensive side of the ball, with some things that we want to be able to do. And certainly when Trey's injury happened, it just was a microcosm of what's kind of occurred. It's very frustrating.
We have 3 final questions. We've got Eric here, then Chris in the back, and wrap it up with Zach. Eric.
Coach, you said you wish the guys handled adversity a little better. What do you mean by that? How would you like
I
them to?
don't want to say that they didn't handle adversity well. I just felt like that we had too many guys that had the woe is me mentality. You throw a pick, the ball gets returned to the 4-yard line. Hell, go make a play. Go make a stop defensively. And I never question our guys' effort. I never have. I've never turned the tape on and didn't feel like they weren't playing hard. Could have played with more of an edge at times. But there's, that's just, but I tell the guys all the time, it's not just about football, it's about life. And life's not fair. Life's difficult. You're going to have things, setbacks, and things happen to you. You've got to learn to persevere through it and fight through it. And 10% is what happened to you, and 90% is what you do with it. And just some times there, and I could have done a better job too. So that's on me.
Chris in the back, and we'll wrap it up with Zach.
Yeah, well, just given FSU's performance, is that a team that deserves to play for a national championship?
No, they got a good team. They do. They've played ahead of the scoreboard. They've played well defensively. They're a very good loose downs defense when they get you into obviously throw down situation, but they're able to, they run it well enough, and they have some mismatch issues outside. And of course, the quarterback, I think, is a fantastic player. The ball that was thrown on 3rd and 24. I mean, the guy's got a howitzer for a right arm. I mean that we had coverage. Cody made a fantastic play on the ball. We held the seam through to about 18, 19 yards. That's the only place the ball could have been thrown. And so you give, your hats off to those guys. They got scholarships too. So.
The bowl practices, do you have something else planned in terms of how the guys will work out or anything like that?
No, I mean right now, our guys, they work because of our school calendar. They work into exams pretty quickly, and we'll get back in January. We'll work them. We'll get the work in.
We'll wrap it up with Zach up front.
Coach, going back to Burton, what did you feel like you saw in film that you feel like you could have success with him there at quarterback?
Well, we just had some different plays off of some of the base stuff that we've run. We had a counter coming back. We had a trap. We had a couple passes off of it. There were just some things we felt good about that Trey had repped well all week and had a lot of confidence in him. Every time he's been in those situations, he's performed very well. And that was a big package of what we wanted to do today.
And with Austin Harden's struggles, could he ever put himself in a situation where his scholarship would not be renewed?
No, man. He's going to work through it. And I think Caleb Sturgis struggled his first year. So, no different than any other position. You got to coach them through it, and you got to help them improve and get better, and that's what we're going to do.
Thanks, guys.
Okay? Thank y'all.